Hare Krishna. So Krishna has described himself as the creator, the maintainer, the destroyer. And he's doing all that, being aloof from the entire material world and the entire material creation. So here, Arjuna might ask a question saying that you're such a great personality, you're supreme being, that why is it there are class of people who don't respect you? So to answer this question, Krishna is speaking shloka number 11. So let's see that now. Avajananti mam modha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhota maheshwaram. So here Krishna is saying that mudha, foolish people, avajananti mam, they deride me, foolish fools deride me. And then he says, when do they deride me? Manushim tanum ashritam, when I descend in the human form. Param bhavam ajananto, they don't know, they're ignorant about param bhavam, my transcendental nature, as mama bhuta maheshwaram, my transcendental nature as the supreme lord or the supreme proprietor of all that exists in the entire creation. So here Krishna is describing about those people who are foolish and they consider Krishna to be a common human being or a common man like you and me. This particular verse is such an important verse that all the acharyas have given huge purports, huge explanation to make us understand that how Krishna is not a common man. So let's try to understand this particular verse in more detail. The personality of Godhead who conducts the creation, maintenance and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation cannot be a human being. Yet, there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. So, we have read previous shlokas. It was so clear that a common man, a mortal being cannot do all those activities. Creation of the entire cosmic manifestation, maintenance of entire cosmic manifestation, annihilation of entire cosmic manifestation, for sure no mortal being can do this. But still, there are some over-smart people who say that, oh, he's just a common man, he's just a human being. Actually, he is the original supreme personality of Godhead. In Brahma Samhita it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So here it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Who is Krishna? Parameshwar. He is the controller of all the controllers. And how is his form? His form is mortal? No, Satchidananda Vigraha. Sat, Chit and Ananda, it's eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Vigraha, he has a form. Satchidananda Vigraha. And Anadiradir Govinda, he is the primeval Lord. And he is the beginning basically, he is the origin of everything. Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes, he is the cause of everything that exists in this world. So here Brahma is making it very clear that Krishna is not a mortal being. Krishna is Maheshwara. He is Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the controller of all controllers and he does not have flesh, bone and blood and mucus, bile, stool, urine in the body, but then it is Satchit Ananda, it's full of bliss, full of knowledge and eternal. And here it is said, material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here as Manushim because he is acting just like a man. A friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways he is acting like an ordinary man. But actually his body is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, bliss, knowledge, absolute. So, it's a nice point to understand that so many wonderful activities that Krishna does. Like, for example, in Krishna Leela, Krishna lifted Govardhan with his left hand on his little finger at the age of 7 for 7 days and 7 nights. Now, when it comes to picking up a book for 7 minutes or 7 seconds is very difficult for a common man. Tell me, how is it possible to lift Govardhan? Today also, if we go to Vrindavan to do Govardhan Parikrama, we'll understand it takes more than 6 hours to do the entire Parikrama, to go around the circumference of the entire mountain, which comes to around 22 to 23 kilometers. In fact, it is described that Govardhan had got a curse, that every day it will reduce with almost like a size of mustard. So every day it is reducing. So 5,000 years back, the Govardhan which was there, the height of Govardhan, the circumference of Govardhan, everything was huge. Now if today's Govardhan is so big, just imagine 5,000 years back in Dwapar Yuga, how big the Govardhan would be. And this small boy, 7 years old, or 7 years young, Navayavanamcha, he lifted Govardhan for 7 days and 7 nights, and still people don't understand that he is not a common man. Anyways, Brahma got bewildered, and Brahma saw that Krishna is sitting with his cowherd boyfriends, all the gopas, and sharing his lunchbox. He started thinking, we offer bhoga by chanting Purusha Sukta and so many other great hymns to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is eating the remnants of others' food. I don't think he is God. And then he did all some nice activities, and Krishna showed his mystical potency in front of the secondary creator Brahma. So Krishna does his humanly pastimes for what? So that we human beings can connect with him. But then at the same time, Krishna shows his supernatural powers. He shows that how supreme he is. But unfortunately, people just see or try to perceive the human pastimes of the Lord, but then they try to ignore the supernatural powers which Krishna is showing. So this point is very important to understand, that when we are trying to understand Krishna, we shouldn't pull Krishna down to our level and start seeing him at our level. Then we will see Krishna as a common mortal being. But then when we see Krishna as God, and when we try to analyze his position, then we'll understand how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If not for him, then who can actually expand into 16,108 forms to reciprocate with 16,108 queens? Externally, if someone sees Krishna, is liberated. No. If suppose someone is thinking about Krishna and then he just sees the body of the Lord. Okay, 7 years boy, crying for milk, stealing butter. When there is thunderstorm, he goes and hide behind Mother Yashoda, crying in fear. Oh, he cannot be God. But what about those pastimes where when he was just 6 days, he killed Putana. 7 years, he lifted Govardhan. And when it comes to killing Trinavarta, when just 100 days, he killed Trinavarta, Shakatasur, so many of them. And when he was just around 14 years or something, he killed big wrestlers, Chanur and Mushtik in Mathura. What about all this? So it's a very important point to understand that we are not discussing about a mortal being, we are discussing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are in ignorance, they can never accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they will always consider him to be a mortal being. And also now, in front of Arjuna, Krishna is standing. And it is said when Krishna was standing in front of Arjuna on the chariot, Krishna had great grandchildren also. But still, Krishna is Navayavanamcha. Still, Krishna's form in front of Arjuna is almost like as if he's just entering the youth. That is what exactly is the difference between a mortal being like you and me and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Here we continue. For only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna as an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone, because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. So the ones who don't read Bhagavad Gita, the ones who don't associate with devotees who have faith, the ones who are not practicing Krishna consciousness, yes, for them it's very difficult to accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. They'll just keep telling something or the other. Some nonsense they'll speak about Krishna. But then the ones who are associating with devotees who have complete faith, for them it's very easy. For them, they can believe in Krishna supremacy and they can worship Krishna as that great Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here it is said, so Krishna makes a statement in 7th chapter we saw, where he says that Mama Maya Duratyaya. He is saying that my Maya, my illusory potency is very, very difficult to overcome. And then he makes a statement, Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. You surrender unto me and I'll deliver you from this ocean of birth and death or from this illusory potency. Now let's analyze the statement. Krishna is saying, you surrender unto me, I'll take care of you from Maya. How can he be in Maya then? If he has the power to pull someone or make someone cross this entire material ocean, the Bhavasagara, then how can this personality get stuck in Maya? And how can he have a body which is given by Maya? Impossible. He cannot have a material body. This is a proof. Because material body means under the three modes of material nature. But here, this person, Krishna, is making a statement, then I can make you cross the three modes of material nature. So, he is away, he is aloof from this entire material world. Anyone who has got little brain substance can easily understand these statements and easily understand how Krishna is not a normal human being or a mortal being. So here, it is very nicely given that foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be a controller of all the atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception, so they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Yes, it's inconceivable. How Krishna is controlling the atoms, how Krishna is controlling the big planets, yes, it's inconceivable. But then, he is God, he can do anything. He can do anything. He enters the smallest of the smallest particle and he manifests his biggest of the biggest form, the universal form, as he did in front of Arjuna. So in this way we understand that how inconceivable Krishna's activities are. If we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. If I sit and just start thinking that, okay, maybe Krishna did these activities, those activities, according to me, Krishna is a normal human being. So who cares our opinions? Our opinions come from us and our opinions will die with us, with this body. Our opinions and our suggestions, our thought process, that has no value when it comes to spirituality. What really matters is what is the verdict of Vedic scriptures. That matters. Many times people say, according to me. Who cares? Who cares? According to me, what it is, who cares? The verdict of scriptures is final. What Bhagavad Gita says, what Bhagavatam says, what the other Puranas are saying, that what is the final verdict. And that's what we have to believe in as devotees, as sadhakas. Now when it comes to, we can go on discussing about Krishna Leela, where Krishna did all various wonderful pastimes. One such is where Krishna manifested his universal form in front of Arjuna. And initially Arjuna was talking very nicely as a friend, and as soon as he saw the entire universal form, anyways, we're going to discuss that in 11th chapter. When he saw that, he started almost crying and he started saying, I pay my repeated obeisances from front, from back, from sides, from everywhere, and now I'm getting fearful, oh Krishna, please come back to your two-handed form. And then when it comes to the birth or the appearance of Krishna in the Mathura jail, in the Karagraha, in front of Vasudeva and Devaki, how did Krishna appear? He didn't appear like a mortal being of this world from the private parts of a female and crying and crying and crying. No, he appeared in his four-handed form, zup, just there in front of Devaki, and then he's standing. And Devaki and Vasudeva, they are offering prayers. Have we ever seen when the baby takes birth, the mother and the nurses who are there, doctors, everyone offering prayers to the baby? And which baby carries Shankachakra, Gada, Padma, Pitambara, Vastra and all that? It's very easy to understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but then it's very difficult for common people or people who are in ignorance to accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And finally, there are many people who deride temple worship. Their thing is that they say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? So like this, now there are so many arguments that people keep posting. But then one thing we have to understand is Krishna is manifesting in various forms so that we can relate to him, we can serve him and purify ourselves. And Archa Vigraha, deity form, is one such incarnation of Lord. So here finally it is said that the personalist and impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, but a perfect devotee of Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is Supreme Personality, he is all-pervading as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. So it's a point to note. Personalist will say that no, Lord has a form. Impersonalist say no, he is impersonal, he has no form. But one thing we need to understand is Lord has his form and from him comes the impersonal form also. So in this way, everything finally boils down to Krishna. Whatever it is, everything boils down to Krishna. The essence of everything is Krishna and Krishna's energies. So we cannot ever think of ignoring this fact. So now Krishna has spoken this very nicely about Mam Mudha, those people who deride me, Avajananti Mam. But now there might be a question, oh Krishna, what happens to those people who deride you in their ignorance? What happens to them? This particular thing Krishna is going to speak in the next shloka. So let's see that in the next video. Hare Krishna.